I think I'm a great interviewer.
If something kind of looks a little off,
Mhm.
people think it's a mistake. And so if you're doing something intentionally to break a rule or kind of lower quality or whatever it is, you need to go like really far so people realize it's intentional and not just a mistake. Being live gave the excuse for bumpy moments.
We can call it live. I like that. Marlon the Masters live and live in a different font.
I don't want people to think that you're not taking this seriously.
I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh, I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh.
Okay, Mark Jager, here we are. You're pushing me. Let me get to 10 million subscribers and blow up my brand. What are we doing?
I knew you were going to do that. You're going to just intro me and say, let's go.
Right? This is the coaching session from the legendary Mark Jager to help me blow up my brand.
Great. So what have you done since we've spoken last? Based on our last conversation, I wanted you to look into 3 or 4 key areas within your company.
Yeah.
Look at raising your standards, bringing people in who could own that business within the business. And you were uncomfortable with that idea.
So we haven't done a whole bunch.
Great. Okay.
I have my son, and so I'm down to 1 day a week working.
Awesome.
But some things have happened. One, I talked to Steve, my agent, and basically said what you said. I'm saying, hey, how do these people build up their brands? What's the next step? What do I need? Do I need a PR person? Do I need, like, you've done it for Mel, you've done it for Grant. What do I need to do next? He said, one, you don't need to have a full-time PR person, but what I want you to do is, one, start your own show. So I want to have a show. I want you to have a show where you're interviewing people, and then you're also being interviewed by people. I want you part of the conversation.
Awesome. I love that he reinforces what I said, which is you need to be interviewed by more people and go out to the world, and you need to bring more people to you and have deeper conversations with them. So Steve and I, same page. Love it.
I love it.
That validates me. So thank you.
That validates you. Okay, this is my coaching session, Mark, not yours. Okay. No, so Evan, I want you to be part of the conversation. When people are launching XYZ, they should want to come on your thing. Mm-hmm. Now, to some extent, it's already happening, but to play bigger. I told him, listen, I've done a lot of interviews. We have a weekly show on Instagram where I bring people on, and we've had, I don't know, Dean Graziosi and Robin Sharma and, a lot of people on the show.
It's just not consistent or high enough quality though, right?
So his point was great, but you have to make it bigger. You're thinking too small. You need to name the show. It's got to be called something. It has to be at the same time. I want you to play a bigger game that, like, every week at this time, join Evan on his show. So we've been doing it every Thursday, but not at the same time each time. And if we didn't book a guest, then I just don't do it. And so it's been on and off. But we've been targeting big people. It's been people who are basically bigger than me on Instagram. And it's led to some interesting connections that have helped out, right? Ed Milet and Dean Graziosi and Robin Sharma, these guys. So now we've created the Marlon the Masters show. We're creating a landing page for it to showcase it, that then my guy Luca is going to go off and book people on, and make it a bigger deal. So that's a positive step. We're looking at 11/8.
You're going to do this on YouTube Live or IG Live?
Instagram Live, download the video, put it to YouTube, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're looking at, so we can hit both East Coast and West Coast. Some of the guests will be West Coast. So
are you going to prep more or have a show structure or segments? And is it going to be packaged tighter, or is it going to follow more of what you've been doing, which feels like a very casual?
I'm open. I don't think it's going to be super structured. I think I'm a great interviewer.
Okay.
If I can find something, happy with that? If I can find something that I actually care deeply about, so that'll be the more for the research and the structure and just diving in. It'll be, I need to figure out, what do I like about this person, or what do I genuinely care about them, that I want to ask some topics, and not just the hey, I've got this new book out, and tell me about this book that you're publishing and why it means so much to you. You know, this, not the generic stuff, but I need to find a point of contact that makes sense for me. Most people want to come on to talk about something.
Yeah, they're on a tour, right?
Yeah, they're doing their thing. I want to be a stop on their tour. And so we're going to leverage all the people that we've had already on. We've had, you know, Tony and Gary and Grant and Sadhguru and lots of people on my channel who've done interviews. So we're going to leverage that. I don't know. I'm open to it. I haven't, to be honest, given a ton of thought around the structure because I think the interviews are super solid. But open the feedback. I think the biggest thing for Steve was he wanted me to pitch it bigger, to make it a bigger deal, to have it look amazing, to me think that it's a big deal, and to name it, brand it, and have consistency in the timing of it. And he wants to help me book some guests for it too.
Well, so I would just say, like, if you look at like the difference, not just in terms of investment, but in terms of packaging, look, feel, structure, and what have you, between Impact Theory and what you do on IGTV with your phone.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by structure and package. It doesn't have to be multi-camera. It doesn't have to be shot in a studio or any of those things. But, you know, there's a very clear impact. You know, there's the opening, and then you see some stuff of him taking photos with the person, which is kind of this promo-y kind of experience. And I know they're in person, but then he throws to like his introduction, which he always plans or speaks to very well. And then it leads to topics that build upon each other. And then he ends with his question, you know, that he ends with. And so there's a structure. Yeah. You know, I think shooting just something on IGTV, just on your phone, and then, you know, makes it already feel to the people you're bringing on like a much lower thing. So I'd be curious how we elevate the production quality on IGTV for the experience, for the perception with the person that you're speaking to, and then with the packaging and the graphics and the distribution and everything on the editing side. But
editing for YouTube, you mean after?
Yeah, because it's just weird camera angles, and if you're on your phone and they're on their phone, this, like, everything is just lower quality. So but if the goal is to be an IGTV show because it, or you know, IG Live show because it allows with the interactions, then I built into the segment, I would want to see how, like, if we're doing it on Instagram because it's live and because it allows for interactions, then I would want that to be a part of the whole experience. Like a live call-in show it's just part of the whole experience. People will forgive the bumpiness of live because there's the calls that are taking place. But if we're trying to do this elevated packaged show and we're ignoring the live audience and we're ignoring the fact that it's live, there's no real reason to do it on Instagram from a strategic point of view. Like, there's only the distribution, the technical distribution, and the benefit of being live. So if you're going to be live, I feel like you should embrace some of those elements as well. Maybe having some of the questions come in, so that way, you know, you can throw from live questions to the person that you're speaking to. Having more interaction with the people. You know, Gary throws out his phone number or whatever, and people can call in. It doesn't have to get overly complicated, but if we're going to be on a live platform shooting on our phones and lower quality, we have to have some reason for that. Otherwise, if you're going to elevate the show and it's going to be a real show, it should be shot better.
I mean, I can always shoot it from my camera as well as the second angle, but unless we're going to go to them or have them come up to Toronto for something, the visual is whatever you're going to get off of their cell phone, and the connection, sometimes connections drop or is spotty, or somebody calls them while they're on the call or whatever.
And then it messes up the audio for the entire recording.
Yeah. I'm open to it. Why IG? One, it's convenient. The tech barrier is pretty easy. So a lot of the people that I've had on don't understand technology at all and don't need to have a tech person to figure stuff out to get in it. And two, it's audience hacking in that we get access to each other's audiences to see the people are going live.
And so all I'm saying is, if if there's strategic or technical reasons to be on IGTV, then I would want to wrap that into the editorial or the feeling or the packaging side of it, so it doesn't feel so it makes sense, right? Like that awkward disconnect is what I want to give a reason, like an editorial story based reason for being there, not just a technical reason for being there.
Well, and maybe that it's.
So if you're calling this Modeling the Masters live, Chase Jarvis did, right? Was it Chase Jarvis live? Or he did his live show, right?
Yep.
Again, it was shot multi-camera and it was great lighting and Amex sponsoring and stuff. But being live gave the excuse for bumpy moments and handheld mics. Like, so if we're going to be a live show, let's be a live show.
We can call it live. I like that. Modeling the Masters live and live in a different font or something. I don't see it going to audience questions. I think I ask better questions than the audience, at least for what I want. And then if I get something great from what I want, then it ends up being value for the audience. So I don't see that part really happening. I'm open to it, but I feel like I'll ask the right questions for where I want to take it, where an audience
so what if
all over the place?
What if you have a pretty big community? What if you knew that you were interviewing someone on Thursday, and as part of the promo for Thursday, you go out to your community and you have them submit to you questions they may want to ask? You can have Nina or someone on your team editorialize them and give you a few cards. And then when it comes time for the audience questions, they're not live questions. They're pulled from your live audience. And those people who submit questions are much more likely to tune into the live conversation then, because they feel like their question might be read live on the show. And then you can throw to 2 or 3 based off of the way the conversation, out of maybe 6, based on the way the conversation goes. And again, it gives us interaction. It gives you the ability to promo that, hey, I have Tony Robbins on my show next Thursday. Submit questions that you might want to ask him. We might read it live. And again, it incorporates this live experience.
It's not sitting well, but I'll.
It just feels too complicated to you?
I think the genius of it will be me being able to pull out great answers from them that others won't, and that I genuinely care about. And so I need to be a better interviewer. I need to pull that out of them. I think that's where the show could really take off, more than asking the same. Like, people are going to ask the same questions, or it's going to be super specific. Like a variety show doesn't typically do that well. I'll sit on it. I as you're talking, I'm thinking the great part about live is you get to also see them to not go hardcore on the production quality, because there is no videographer, especially on their end. I mean, on my side, I can control the lighting and I can control, a bunch of stuff, but on their side, we can give tips and guidance, but I'm expecting a little bit of chaos, but to play into that, like them in their environment.
That's what I'm saying. Just give a reason for it to be the way that it is. And then an intention, and then it won't. So there's this thing that we do in production, and I explain it to all my junior editors and stuff. If something kind of looks a little off, people think it's a mistake. And so if you're doing something intentionally to break a rule or kind of lower quality or whatever it is, you need to go like really far so people realize it's intentional and not just a mistake.
Okay.
And so just by inviting someone and saying, hey, it's on IG, it's on IG, and you just need your phone, and make sure you're in a quiet space and the lighting is okay and you're holding your phone this way, it gives the person you're interviewing, who does these all the time, the perception that this is just a mom and pop, they're coming into something that is like super, super basic. But if there's a story there in terms of why it is the way it is and what you're hoping to get out of it, and it's not about the production, it's about the conversation and this and that, then they know it's just not cheap, lazy mistakes. This is intentional. And the same thing is true for the audience, right? Like if we're packaging this in a way where there's intention, then people will forgive you a lot if it makes sense. That's the only thing I'd want you to do, because sometimes poor production quality just comes across as lazy or cheap or not the level that they're used to. Sometimes glitz and process makes people feel comfortable because they feel like you're taking it seriously.
Mhm.
And I don't want people to think that you're not taking this seriously.
Okay.
When you had your conversation with Gary,
Yeah.
he wasn't taking it seriously.
Sure.
Do you think he was?
No, but you're right. So I'm trying to think of great, like intention. Awesome. What are the steps? Right. So if we're going to make it an IG live show where
Mhm.
people are then going to call in from their phone, how to incorporate some of the live elements. Is it like, hey, take me on a tour of your office, or like what can the whole point of it's yes, it's convenient, makes it super easy,
Mhm.
but if it's not bringing in the listeners and their questions, the fact that this is them in their environment is it's
Them in their environment. It's a live conversation. There are no second takes. One, I'm going to add, I want to have a conversation unlike the other conversations that you have. And so are you ready for me to throw things to you? There's no second takes, no editing. Let's go. Like if that's the type of conversation you want to have, then the fact that it's live puts them a little bit on edge. Have like, it just makes things feel a little differently. The reactions are a little different. Like, let's embrace the fact that this is you and me sitting across from each other as if we were sitting at a coffee shop and having a conversation.
Most of the interviews and stuff that people do, I don't know that the live is the thing. Like they'll do a lot of live interviews, and they'll also do even ones that aren't live.
Very little
Not be heavily edited.
Yep.
But this is something that will be in their environment that they often won't get a chance to do.
So then if we're thinking in terms, like, I feel like we're kind of reaching here now, but if we're thinking about segments and it's like, okay, you explain to the person, this is how it goes. I'm going to have you on, I'm going to welcome you. I'm going to do a quick introduction of you. Then I'm going to get into some questions, taking us like leading with the heart, taking us where we want to go. The whole reason for being live is one, it's simple, it's easy for you, but more than anything, I want you in an environment that's meaningful and matters. I'm a big believer that environment of excellence is really important for energy and blah, 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 blah. And so I want to know, because it ties into your energy, it ties into your day, it ties into your progress, whatever it is. Like there's some structure, but it feels to me like
we could have one thing, like bring one thing in that is meaningful to you.
Environment of excellence, to tie it into that then, right? That's part of your circle of belief, right?
You could see them have one, I want to talk about your environment. So it could be your general environment, but also I want you to bring one thing.
The Doritos, like,
yeah, exactly. Like I have this Doritos bag here for a reason. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a reason for being live. Hey, I mean, like the benefit to being live is we were recording a podcast and you wanted to show me something in your office. You grabbed your phone, you turned did it, right? There's this casual nature to it that once embraced is really, really great.
Right.
Now, the next step though is once it's embraced on the editing side, we need proper packaging of graphics. We need to make sure that the audio can be cleaned up as much as possible by processing it, with noise reduction and EQing and other things that your team can do. And we got to figure out that picture or whatever it is, so it just doesn't look like some shoddy little thing. But
okay, well,
you can fix all that.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of how to do that, but I'm open to suggestions for it.
Yeah.
So there's that. So we're working on the landing page. We're going to launch a show once Hayden is done the 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at starting January, having somebody join me for full time.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me around.
How did your test go? I know that we were talking about in some other conversations, upping the videography, having people follow you more, upping the production quality. How did the test day go?
So I had Katie, who's a potential person, join us for one day. Mm-hmm. It was me and Nina and Hayden going around Toronto, trying a bunch of food, and we went to the new fancy Tim Hortons downtown and a bunch of stuff. And she followed us along. One, it was to see how does the vibe, not just with me, but with my wife, because if we're going to go on a tour for 90 days, they gotta work well together, and the vibe's super important. And also just to get the storytelling out. Even though it's a vlog, I want there to be a message in there, and I want her to ask questions and pull it out. And so there was a little bit of training, a little bit of discussion, like what I'm looking for, and just feeling that out and seeing if that's what she wanted to do. Today she's editing, and so I'm gonna get something today and see. In theory, the vibe was great, the discussion was great. Do we have a final product that we are happy with? We'll see. That should come today. And then the idea would be one day shoot, one day edit, one day shoot, one day edit. Is that realistic, you think?
So like 6 to 8 hours of footage, and then the next day it's cut into like an 8 to 10 minute vlog.
Yep. Not necessarily just a vlog, but a video.
Yeah, it's realistic. Once the processes are all figured out, all the data management, all the opening, closing graphics or background music. So once all of that's built and figured out, that's. I mean, you're giving 8 hours to edit. She shot the stuff, so she knows exactly what the footage is. That's realistic.
And to do it right away, so that you're not going back a week later and saying, "Where was that clip of?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what she's working on today. We'll see if that works out well. We're likely looking at some kind of road trip together, where it'd be my driver, her, me, Nina go to New York or something for a weekend.
Just to shake out everything. Yeah.
How do the four of us get along? How do you sleep together in an Airbnb or hotel or whatever? Like, just hanging out, and because that would be a mini version of what the tour would be.
Right.
So that started, which is good so far. So good. We'll see.
Don't go to New York. Pick like Philadelphia, or pick some city that you need to knock off of your 1 million people list. You go to New York all the time.
No, but there's nothing. Like the next city is far. There's nothing drivable.
Okay.
Yeah, off of our list of 1 million, but we're gonna hit them anyway on the tour for 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Steve, my agent, was also. We're talking about speaking and getting me on more stages. I'm going to speak at the growth event. Is Brendan Burchard's thing. 3,000 people.
Nice.
And then something else happened in Miami, and Steve was like, "Okay, you're not allowed to do any more bookings. Everything goes through me. You're too nice."
Oh, just the prices you were doing and everything?
Well, just like organizing and following up, and so it's like, okay, great. So any speaking gig that comes into me, I just send them to Steve.
Good.
And then we need to talk about creating a bigger plan to have me speak more.
Okay, so Steve is going to start. His team is going to start working on getting you into more things as well.
Yeah, so I got to talk to him again. It's a little slow because of my schedule at the moment.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
Plus launch the book. Plus
you
launch
said you
my
didn't do
YouTube
anything.
course.
This is just having this conversation with Steve seems to have driven a lot of progress. So that's great.
Yeah. So the conversation with Steve, and then the follow up, and then just saying, hey, make this a priority. So he's got a lot of connections. He's got his team. He's done this before. I just need to push him harder. But also I need to pull up my end, right? I mean, I need to get the landing page done for the show. So
are you ready for this?
Am I ready for this?
Yeah. Like I know that you want the outcome, but a lot of the steps between here and the outcome are things that you're like, interviewing people, you're like, like I can interview people. I got to find something to get excited about, but it's important. Being interviewed by people means, more travel potentially, or, being on stage means a lot more travel. These are all things that you're not super excited about, are you?
So with Nina, if Nina can come along to stuff, now that Nina's working with me, it makes things a lot easier or better for our relationship. If I was away, this the whole thing. It's like that's a lot of authors. That's what they're doing. They're away 30 weekends a year.
Yep.
I don't want that life with Nina being home by herself. So I'm speaking at an event in Dallas right after Hayden leaves, and Nina's coming along with me to learn there. So we'll have to balance that work-life situation. If she can come along, it's fantastic. The Grow one is interesting. I mean, it's more, yes, it's great. And it's a big group. 3,000 people is a big audience. It's a professional setup. Like they're asking me, hey, what do you want in the green room for food and snacks? And what do you want your walk-on music to be? And like, okay, great. Like snacks, I don't care about, but walk-on music, let me think about. And just playing in that bigger field of this is what guys like Brendan do.
I have heard from professional speakers that anything over 2,000 people, you don't notice the increase. You know the difference between 400 and 1,000, or 1,000 and 2,000. But anything over 2,000 people, it could be 6,000. You literally don't know. It's just a big group of people.
So I need to get my speaker reel better. I need to think about what am I going to talk about. I mean, I'll talk about the built to serve, the who, I, how, but I don't have a canned presentation ready to go on it yet. So I got to get that done. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Mark, we got 2 minutes. So what do I need to work on before we talk next?
What do you need to work on? It sounds like you've made progress on the PR side, right? You're making progress to bring more people to you and for you to go out and do more people. Great. There were 2 other pillars that we had talked about, right? In terms of brand management. So like the quality of your design, the quality of your videos. I know that I've seen on Instagram that you've been upping your game. So there's obviously been some changes there. And then on the advertising side, we've also had a few conversations about that, but leveraging, new website, more strategic ad spend and building up those 3 pillars.
We should do, when are we working on my new website? Friday.
I asked you last week if you would come to my office on Wednesday for the day, and you're like, can't. I only work a week.
I got my son. So. But Friday, we're going to be at your place. The giant Mark Drager picture on the wall.
Potentially, yes.
How about we do round 2 and we'll map out the website?
Maybe. Maybe. Friday's usually my day where I catch up on all my work, but I could give it to you. I could give you that day.
Stay tuned. Coming soon. Thank you for the love, Mark. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, buddy.
Take care. If you want to see the last conversation I had with Mark Drager where he pushed me and kicked my butt, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If I were on your team, if I were you were my product, I wouldn't let that stuff go out. I thought this was a good idea. This makes no sense at all.